$1.00 versus $1,000,000 days, written and published by Rich Audiobooks. The most precious resource we all share isn't money, it's time. Yet millions of people wake up each day to trade their irreplaceable hours for a fixed sum, often barely enough to cover basic needs. This fundamental transaction, trading time directly for money, creates an inescapable ceiling that keeps many trapped in cycles of financial struggle. Consider Maria, who drives for a ride-sharing service. She exchanges each hour behind the wheel for roughly $15.00 after expenses. No matter how efficiently she works or how many hours she puts in, she can never earn more than the hours she physically spends driving. Her income is strictly limited by the clock, creating an ironclad mathematical barrier to wealth building. Even if she worked every waking hour, she'd still be constrained by the immutable fact that there are only 24 hours in a day. This time for money trap extends far beyond gig work. Traditional employees, freelancers, and even many professionals fall into the same pattern. A lawyer billing $300.00 per hour may seem wealthy compared to a minimum wage worker, but they're both playing the same game, just at different price points. They're still directly exchanging their limited time for money, creating an inherent cap on their earning potential. Lesson 1. The poor trade time for pennies. The psychology behind this approach runs deep. We're conditioned from an early age to think in terms of hourly wages and fixed salaries. Schools prepare us to be good employees, reinforcing the idea that trading time for money is the natural order of things. This mindset becomes so ingrained that many never question it, viewing it as the only path to earning income. The true cost of this exchange goes beyond the immediate financial limitations. When we trade time for pennies, we sacrifice opportunities for growth, learning, and building assets that could generate wealth independently of our time. Every hour spent in this direct exchange is an hour not invested in creating systems, building businesses, or developing skills that could break the time-money connection. Digital technology has made this tragedy even more apparent. While some use technology to create scalable income streams, many simply find new ways to trade time for pennies through digital platforms. The explosion of microtask websites and gig economy apps has simply digitized the same fundamental problem: people selling their precious hours for minimal return. The mathematics paint a stark picture. Someone earning $10.00 per hour would need to work 100,000 hours to earn $1 million. That's over 11 years of non-stop work, 24 hours a day, with no breaks. The absurdity of these numbers reveals the futility of trying to build wealth through direct time-for-money exchange. Breaking free requires a fundamental shift in thinking. Instead of asking, "How can I earn more per hour?" the wealthy ask, "How can I create value that generates income independently of my time?" This shift isn't just about working smarter, it's about completely reimagining the relationship between time, effort, and money. The path forward begins with recognition. Understanding that trading time for pennies is a trap, not a destiny, opens the door to alternative approaches. It requires acknowledging that while this exchange might be necessary for survival in the short term, it cannot be the primary strategy for building long-term wealth. The wealthy have internalized this truth, leading them to structure their activities around building assets and systems that generate value beyond their direct time investment. Each morning, millions face a choice: continue trading irreplaceable hours for pennies, or begin the challenging but rewarding journey of breaking free from this limiting exchange. The gap between $1.00 and $1,000,000 days starts with this fundamental decision about how we value and invest our time. Lesson 2. The rich trade ideas for empires. While the masses trade hours for dollars, the wealthy understand a profound truth: ideas are the ultimate leverage. A single powerful concept, properly executed, can generate wealth that compounds exponentially without requiring additional time investment. This fundamental difference in approach creates a chasm between those who remain trapped in time-based income and those who build lasting empires. Consider the story of Sarah Blakely, who transformed a simple idea, footless pantyhose, into Spanx, a billion-dollar empire. The power wasn't in the hours she worked, but in recognizing a common problem and developing a scalable solution. Her intellectual property, protected by patents and powered by strong branding, continues generating wealth long after the initial concept phase. The wealthy understand that ideas are infinitely scalable. When Netflix shifted from DVD rentals to streaming, they weren't just changing their delivery method. They were leveraging a revolutionary idea about how people consume entertainment. This single pivot created a technological empire that serves millions simultaneously, without requiring proportionally more effort or resources. The same content can be streamed 1,000,000 times without additional cost, demonstrating the pure leverage of intellectual property. This approach extends beyond traditional business models. Authors write a book once but can sell it forever. Software developers create an application that can be downloaded infinitely. Musicians record songs that generate royalties for decades. These aren't just success stories, they're examples of the wealthy's fundamental understanding that trading ideas is exponentially more powerful than trading time. The architect of wealth thinks differently from the laborer. Instead of asking, "How many hours can I work?" they ask, "How can I create something that works for me?" This mindset shift is crucial. While the poor focus on earning their next paycheck, the rich focus on building systems that generate ongoing value. They understand that the real power lies not in the idea itself, but in the infrastructure built around it that allows for massive scale. Modern technology has democratized this approach. Digital platforms allow people to transform ideas into empires with unprecedented speed and minimal initial capital. Social media influencers build personal brands that spawn product lines, consulting services, and media companies. App developers create solutions that reach global markets instantly. The barriers to entry for idea-based wealth creation have never been lower. The wealthy also recognize that ideas don't exist in isolation. They build ecosystems around their core concepts, creating multiple revenue streams from single innovations. Tesla isn't just selling cars, they're leveraging their intellectual property across energy storage, solar power, and autonomous driving technology. Each expansion multiplies the value of the original ideas without linear increases in effort. This approach requires a fundamental shift in resource allocation. While the poor spend their energy executing tasks, the wealthy invest time in thinking, strategizing, and identifying opportunities for leverage. They understand that the highest value activities often happen in moments of reflection and creativity, not in the busy work that fills most people's days. The wealthy also protect and monetize their intellectual property aggressively. They understand that in the modern economy, ideas are currency. Through patents, trademarks, and copyrights, they ensure their innovations generate returns long after their initial creation. This protection transforms temporary advantages into lasting empires, creating generational wealth rather than temporary income. Building idea-based empires isn't about waiting for a single brilliant stroke of genius. It's about consistently developing and refining concepts that solve real problems, then creating systems to deliver those solutions at scale. The wealthy know that while time is finite, the potential of ideas is limitless. They focus on creating assets that appreciate rather than trading hours that evaporate. Lesson 3. The poor watch content. In the modern digital age, content consumption has become the default state for millions of people, particularly those struggling financially. The average person spends over 6 hours daily consuming digital content, from social media scrolling to streaming services, creating a passive relationship with information and entertainment that shapes their economic reality. This consumption pattern reveals a stark divide between socioeconomic classes. Those living paycheck to paycheck often seek escape through endless streams of entertainment, using their precious free time to numb themselves from daily struggles rather than actively working toward financial improvement. The statistics are telling. Lower-income households consume significantly more television than their wealthy counterparts, with some studies showing up to 4 additional hours of daily screen time. The real cost of this consumption habit extends far beyond the monthly subscription fees. Every hour spent passively watching content represents lost opportunities for skill development, side business creation, or valuable relationship building. A person who watches 3 hours of television daily will consume over 1,000 hours of content annually, equivalent to 6 months of full-time work that could have been invested in wealth-building activities. Passive consumption creates a dangerous feedback loop. The more content someone consumes, the more their brain becomes wired for instant gratification and short-term thinking. Marketing messages embedded within this content often promote consumerist values and reinforce financial behaviors that keep people trapped in cycles of poverty. Reality TV shows showcase luxurious lifestyles without revealing the work behind them, while social media feeds present carefully curated glimpses of wealth that spark envy rather than inspiration. The attention economy has transformed human focus into one of the most valuable commodities of our time. While the poor give away their attention freely to content platforms, these same platforms generate billions in advertising revenue by monetizing that attention. The cruel irony is that many people pay for the privilege of having their attention sold to advertisers through subscription services, creating a double loss of both time and money. Breaking free from the consumption trap requires a fundamental shift in how we view content. Rather than allowing it to become a passive time filler, successful people treat content as a tool for specific purposes: learning, research, or strategic entertainment. They set strict boundaries around consumption time and maintain awareness of content's role in their larger life goals. The wealth gap in content consumption also manifests in the quality of information being absorbed. While the poor often gravitate toward pure entertainment, the wealthy tend to seek out educational content, industry news, and practical knowledge that can be applied to wealth creation. This selective consumption creates compound effects over time. Those who choose educational content gain knowledge that helps them make better financial decisions, while pure entertainment consumers remain stagnant. Digital content represents one of the most significant time drains in modern life, yet many remain unaware of its impact on their financial trajectory. The hours spent watching others live, create, and succeed could be redirected toward personal growth and wealth creation. The key lies not in eliminating content consumption entirely, but in transforming from a passive consumer into an active participant in the digital economy. This shift marks one of the fundamental differences between those who remain in poverty and those who build lasting wealth. Lesson 4. The rich create content. While most people spend countless hours consuming content across various platforms, the wealthy have discovered a fundamental truth: the real money lies in creation, not consumption. Content creation has become one of the most powerful wealth-building strategies in the digital age, offering unprecedented opportunities to build authority, generate passive income, and create lasting impact. The modern content economy operates on a simple principle: attention is currency. Those who can capture and direct attention have discovered a new form of alchemy, transforming ideas into income streams. This transformation isn't limited to social media influencers or Hollywood producers. It extends to entrepreneurs who document their journeys, professionals who share their expertise, and innovators who teach their methods. Consider Sarah, a former accountant who started creating YouTube videos about personal finance. Her first videos reached only dozens of viewers, but she understood that each piece of content was an asset that would work for her indefinitely. 3 years later, her channel generates more revenue than her previous corporate salary, and she's built a community of over 500,000 subscribers. Her content continues to earn money while she sleeps, travels, or creates new material. The wealthy recognize that everyone possesses valuable knowledge or experiences worth sharing. Whether it's business insights, technical skills, life lessons, or unique perspectives, these assets remain locked away until transformed into shareable content. A single blog post, video, or podcast episode can impact thousands of lives while generating income through various monetization channels: advertising, sponsorships, affiliate marketing, or product sales. Content creation also builds powerful personal brands. The rich understand that a strong personal brand opens doors to opportunities that money alone cannot buy. Speaking engagements, consulting contracts, partnership offers, and investment opportunities naturally flow to those who consistently share valuable insights with their audience. This compound effect of content creation extends far beyond direct monetary gain. The digital age has democratized content creation. High-quality videos can be shot on smartphones, podcasts recorded with basic microphones, and articles written on free platforms. The barrier to entry isn't technical or financial, it's psychological. The wealthy push through initial self-doubt, ignore early criticism, and focus on consistent creation rather than immediate perfection. They approach content creation strategically, treating it as a business rather than a hobby. This means understanding their target audience, analyzing metrics, optimizing distribution channels, and continuously refining their message. They study successful creators in their niche, not to copy, but to understand proven principles they can adapt to their unique voice and style. Most importantly, the wealthy view content creation as a long-term investment. They understand that building a significant following takes time, but unlike traditional investments, content can begin generating returns immediately through networking, learning, and personal growth. Each piece of content serves as a portfolio item, a learning experience, and a potential source of income. The true power of content creation lies in its scalability. While the poor trade hours for dollars, the rich create once and benefit infinitely. A single valuable piece of content can continue generating income, building relationships, and opening opportunities years after its creation. This multiplication of effort represents the fundamental difference between the wealthy and poor mindsets, the understanding that true wealth comes from creating assets that work independently of your time. In the modern economy, everyone is a potential creator. The wealthy have simply chosen to step across the line from consumer to producer, from audience to performer, from passive observer to active participant in the attention economy. They recognize that in a world where attention is increasingly valuable, those who can capture and direct it through meaningful content will continue to build wealth while others merely consume it. Lesson 5. The poor complain. Life's challenges hit everyone, rich and poor alike. But there's a stark difference in how these groups respond to adversity. While the wealthy see obstacles as opportunities for growth and innovation, those trapped in poverty often fall into the seductive trap of complaint cycles. Complaining provides immediate emotional relief, acting as a pressure valve for frustration. It feels good in the moment to vent about unfair bosses, rising prices, or systemic barriers. The problem is that this temporary relief comes at a devastating long-term cost. Every minute spent complaining is a minute not spent solving problems or creating value. Over time, habitual complaining rewires the brain toward learned helplessness, a psychological state where people believe they have no control over their circumstances. This mindset manifests in subtle but damaging ways. A person might see a successful business owner and immediately think they probably had rich parents, rather than, what could I learn from their journey? When faced with a setback, their first instinct is to explain why something won't work, rather than figure out how it could. Social circles form around shared complaints, creating echo chambers that reinforce limiting beliefs and negative perspectives. The financial impact of a complaint-centered mindset extends far beyond the obvious. While someone is complaining about their job, others are acquiring new skills. While they're bemoaning market conditions, others are identifying opportunities within those same conditions. While they're criticizing successful people, others are studying and networking with them. The opportunity cost of complaint cycles is enormous, but often invisible. What makes this pattern particularly insidious is how socially acceptable and even encouraged complaining has become. Social media platforms are filled with rant posts that gather likes and supportive comments. Friends meet for coffee to vent about their situations. Workplace break rooms become complaint forums. This social reinforcement makes it feel normal and even righteous to focus on problems rather than solutions. The wealthy approach adversity differently. When they encounter an obstacle, their first question is, how can I solve this, rather than, who can I blame? They understand that energy directed toward complaints is energy diverted from progress. Instead of sharing frustrations on social media, they share insights and opportunities. Rather than bonding over shared problems, they connect through shared ambitions and solutions. Breaking free from the complaint cycle requires conscious effort and environmental change. It means developing awareness of when venting crosses the line into unproductive complaining. It involves deliberately shifting conversations from problems to potential solutions. Most importantly, it requires surrounding oneself with people who encourage action over complaint. The transformation begins with a simple practice. For every complaint, propose a solution. Even if the solution isn't perfect or immediately actionable, this habit builds problem-solving muscles and gradually shifts perspective from victimhood to agency. When others complain, respond with questions about potential solutions rather than adding to the chorus of grievances. This isn't about toxic positivity or denying real challenges. It's about choosing where to direct mental and emotional energy. The poor stay poor partly because their energy gets consumed by complaint cycles that feel good in the moment but produce nothing of value. The rich get richer because they channel that same energy into finding solutions that create value for themselves and others. Lesson 6. The rich solve problems. The fundamental difference between wealth creation and wage earning lies in the ability to solve meaningful problems at scale. While many chase money directly, the wealthy understand that fortune follows those who eliminate pain points for others. Every successful business, from the corner store to tech giants, exists because it solved a specific problem for a defined group of people. The wealthy approach problems differently than the average person. Where others see frustrations, they see opportunities. Where others complain about inefficiencies, they design solutions. This problem-solving mindset transforms obstacles into stepping stones toward wealth creation. A single solution, properly monetized and scaled, can generate income for years or even decades without requiring additional time investment. Consider Sarah, who noticed that local restaurants struggled to find reliable delivery drivers. Instead of simply observing the problem, she built a network of vetted drivers and created a scheduling system. What started as a solution for a few local establishments grew into a regional delivery service generating millions in annual revenue. The key wasn't that she worked harder than others, it was that she solved a persistent problem that affected many businesses. Problem solving as a path to wealth requires developing specific skills. The wealthy learn to identify problems worth solving by asking key questions. How many people face this issue? How much would they pay to solve it? Can the solution be scaled? Is it a one-time fix or a recurring need? These questions help filter opportunities and focus energy on problems with genuine profit potential. The methodology of effective problem solving combines analytical thinking with creative innovation. The wealthy don't just address surface symptoms, they dig deep to understand root causes. They study existing solutions, identify their shortcomings, and design improvements. They test their solutions in small, controlled environments before scaling them up. This systematic approach reduces risk and increases the likelihood of success. Money flows naturally to those who create elegant solutions. Take James, who recognized that small business owners struggled with bookkeeping. Rather than offering traditional accounting services, he developed a simplified software solution that automated common tasks. By solving this problem digitally, he could serve thousands of clients simultaneously, creating wealth through scalable problem solving. Building a reputation as a problem solver amplifies opportunities for wealth creation. When you become known for fixing things, people bring problems to you. This creates a virtuous cycle where each solved problem leads to awareness of new opportunities. The wealthy understand that their problem-solving abilities are their most valuable asset, and they continuously work to strengthen this skill. The digital age has dramatically expanded the potential reach of problem-solving. Solutions that once served local markets can now help people globally. Software, online courses, digital products, and virtual services can solve problems for millions of people simultaneously. The wealthy leverage these tools to maximize the impact and profitability of their solution. Problem solving at this level requires a shift in thinking from "what can I do" to "what needs to be done." It means looking beyond personal capabilities to envision complete solutions, even if they require building teams or developing new skills. The wealthy don't limit themselves to problems they can solve alone. They create systems and organizations capable of delivering solutions at scale. This approach to wealth creation through problem solving represents a fundamental departure from trading time for money. It requires patience, creativity, and strategic thinking, but the potential rewards far exceed what's possible through traditional employment. The wealthy know that every problem solved can become a stream of income, and they organize their lives around identifying and addressing meaningful challenges. Lesson 7. The poor work alone. The myth of the self-made millionaire has done more damage to wealth creation than almost any other cultural narrative. This pervasive belief that success comes from grinding it out alone has trapped countless talented people in a cycle of limited productivity and stunted growth. The reality is that working alone is often a poverty mindset masquerading as independence. When you examine the daily routines of those earning minimal income, you'll frequently find them taking pride in doing it all myself. They clean their own office, manage their own books, handle their own customer service, and wear every possible hat in their small operation. While this might feel like dedicated work ethic, it's actually a form of self-imposed limitation that keeps them trapped in low-income brackets. This solo approach creates several critical problems. First, it puts a hard ceiling on productivity. There are only 24 hours in a day, and no matter how efficiently you work, you can't exceed that natural limitation. When you insist on doing everything yourself, you're essentially declaring that your maximum income will be directly tied to your personal time and energy, both finite resources. The psychological factors behind this behavior run deep. Many who work alone do so because of trust issues stemming from past experiences. Others maintain control over every aspect of their work because they believe no one else can do it as well as they can. Some avoid collaboration because they don't want to share credit or profits. These emotional barriers become financial barriers, becoming invisible walls that prevent scaling and growth. Consider the local handyman who refuses to hire help because he doesn't trust anyone else to do quality work. He might earn a decent hourly rate, but he'll never be able to serve more than a handful of clients per week. Meanwhile, his competitor, who built a team of trained professionals, can serve dozens of clients simultaneously, multiplying revenue while actually working fewer hours, personally. The financial mathematics of working alone are brutally simple. If you earn $50, 0 cents per hour working solo, you might generate $400, 0 cents in an 8-hour day. That same 8 hours could be used to manage 5 workers who each generate $300, 0 cents daily, creating $1,500, 0 cents in revenue, while reducing your personal physical labor. The solo worker often fails to recognize that their insistence on maintaining complete control is actually costing them money. This isolated approach also cuts off valuable networking opportunities. Working alone means missing out on collaborative projects, partnership opportunities, and the cross-pollination of ideas that often leads to breakthrough success. The most successful people in any field typically have robust professional networks built through years of working with others. The digital age has made this solo limitation even more striking. Online entrepreneurs who insist on creating every piece of content, managing every social media post, and handling every customer interaction themselves quickly hit a growth ceiling. They become trapped in a cycle of constant busy work that prevents them from focusing on strategic growth opportunities. Many justify working alone by pointing to the cost of hiring help. However, this perspective fails to account for opportunity cost, the potential earnings lost by not delegating lower value tasks. When you're stuck doing $15 0 cents per hour work, you can't focus on the $150 0 cents per hour opportunities that could transform your financial situation. This misallocation of time and energy keeps many talented people trapped in lower income brackets despite their skills and dedication. Working alone isn't just about lacking physical help, it's about lacking the multiplicative power of collaborative thinking, shared resources, and compound effort. Every major fortune in history was built through the coordinated efforts of multiple people working toward a common goal. The sooner one embraces this reality, the sooner they can begin building real wealth rather than just earning a living. Lesson 8. The rich delegate and lead. The fundamental difference between earning $1 0 cents and $1 million 0 cents per day lies not in personal capability, but in the ability to harness the capabilities of others. Wealthy people understand that true scale comes through delegation and leadership, not through attempting to do everything themselves. The mathematics of leverage through people is straightforward yet profound. If you work alone, you're limited to 24 hours per day, but when you effectively delegate, each person you add to your system multiplies your impact. 10 capable team members working in harmony can accomplish in one day what might take a single person 2 months. This multiplication effect explains why business owners can generate exponentially more value than individual contributors. Successful delegation requires a precise balance of control and trust. Many struggling entrepreneurs fail at delegation because they either micromanage every detail or completely abdicate responsibility without proper oversight. The sweet spot lies in clearly communicating expectations, establishing measurable outcomes, and creating systems that allow for autonomous execution while maintaining quality standards. This approach enables teams to operate efficiently without constant supervision. Building effective teams starts with understanding that every hire should generate more value than their cost. Top performers don't just look for skilled people, they seek out people whose strengths complement their weaknesses. A visionary leader might hire detail-oriented operators. A technical founder might bring in marketing expertise. This complementary approach creates a whole greater than the sum of its parts. Leadership in the context of wealth creation isn't about charisma or authority. It's about alignment and empowerment. Wealthy people excel at painting a compelling vision that inspires others to contribute their best efforts. They create environments where team members feel ownership over their work and are motivated by more than just a paycheck. This leadership style naturally attracts and retains top talent, creating a positive feedback loop of success. The transition from operator to leader requires a psychological shift that many find challenging. It means letting go of the idea that you must be the best at every task. Instead, your value comes from orchestrating the efforts of specialists who are better than you at their specific roles. This shift often feels uncomfortable at first, but it's essential for scaling beyond personal limitation. Many assume that delegation requires substantial financial resources, but creative approaches exist for those starting small. Virtual assistants, freelancers, and partnership arrangements can provide leverage with minimal upfront investment. The key is starting with tasks that directly generate revenue or free up time for high-value activities. As these initial delegations prove successful, they generate resources for further team expansion. The wealthy also understand that delegation isn't just about assigning tasks, it's about developing people. By investing in team members' growth, they create increasingly capable allies who can handle greater responsibility over time. This development mindset transforms delegation from a simple task-sharing arrangement into a talent multiplication system. Systems thinking separates wealthy leaders from struggling managers. Rather than creating dependent relationships where everything requires their input, they build robust processes that can operate independently. Documentation, training programs, and clear standard operating procedures allow their organizations to scale without becoming bottlenecks. The most successful delegators maintain a careful balance between involvement and autonomy. They remain connected enough to spot problems early, but removed enough to allow innovation and ownership to flourish. This balance creates resilient organizations that can weather challenges and seize opportunities without constant direction from the top. Lesson 9. The poor spend emotionally. Money and emotions have always been deeply intertwined, but nowhere is this connection more evident than in the spending patterns of those struggling financially. Emotional spending serves as both a coping mechanism and a perpetual trap, creating a vicious cycle that keeps people locked in financial instability. The psychology behind emotional spending reveals a pattern of seeking immediate comfort or validation through purchases. When faced with stress, sadness, or even happiness, the poor often turn to spending as a form of emotional regulation. A bad day at work leads to an "I deserve this" purchase. A moment of celebration transforms into an unnecessary splurge. These emotional triggers bypass rational decision-making processes, leading to purchases that often exceed both means and needs. Marketing companies understand and exploit these emotional vulnerabilities with surgical precision. They craft messages that don't just sell products, but promise emotional fulfillment. Their advertisements don't simply showcase items, they sell dreams, status, and emotional relief. The poor, particularly susceptible to these messages due to various life stressors, become primary targets for such emotional manipulation. A luxury handbag isn't marketed as a container for personal items, but as a symbol of success and belonging. The latest smartphone isn't sold based on its technical specifications, but on how it will make you feel more connected and relevant. The relationship between emotional spending and debt creates another troubling dynamic. When people spend emotionally, they often rely on credit cards and loans to fuel their purchases. The temporary emotional lift from buying something new is quickly replaced by the stress of mounting debt. This stress, in turn, triggers more emotional spending, creating a self-perpetuating cycle that becomes increasingly difficult to break. Status anxiety plays a particularly insidious role in emotional spending patterns. Social media has amplified this effect, creating a constant stream of comparative lifestyle content that triggers feelings of inadequacy. The poor often attempt to maintain appearances through purchases they can't afford, trying to project an image of financial wellness even as their actual financial health deteriorates. This pursuit of perceived status through material goods becomes a driving force behind many financial decisions, leading to choices that prioritize short-term appearance over long-term stability. The timing of these emotional purchases often correlates with paydays, creating a feast and famine pattern in spending habits. When money arrives, it triggers a brief sense of abundance that, combined with pent-up emotional needs, results in rapid and often irrational spending. This pattern leaves little room for saving or investing, as emotional spending consumes available resources before rational financial planning can take place. The physical and digital environment of modern commerce is designed to encourage emotional spending. Store layouts, online shopping interfaces, and payment systems are all optimized to reduce friction and capitalize on emotional impulses. One-click purchasing, buy now, pay later options, and strategic product placement all serve to bypass the cognitive processes that might otherwise prevent emotional spending decisions. Breaking free from emotional spending requires developing a new relationship with both money and emotions. It involves learning to recognize emotional triggers, understanding the difference between genuine needs and emotional wants, and creating systems that protect against impulsive financial decisions. The path to financial stability begins with acknowledging that money decisions should stem from careful planning rather than emotional reactions, and that true financial security comes from making choices that serve long-term emotional relief. Lesson 10. The rich spend strategically. Money flows like water through our financial lives, but while the poor let it slip through their fingers, the rich construct intricate channels to direct its course. Strategic spending isn't about pinching pennies or extreme frugality. It's about understanding money as a tool for building long-term wealth and making decisions that align with that vision. The wealthy approach spending with a clear investment mindset. Before making purchases, they analyze the potential return, whether financial, temporal, or experiential. A rich person might spend $50,000, 0 cents, on a business coach, not because they have money to burn, but because they've calculated the potential return on investment through increased business performance. They might invest in a $2,000 0-cent standing desk because they understand the long-term health benefits and increased productivity will far outweigh the initial cost. This strategic approach extends beyond business investments into personal spending. While a poor person might lease a luxury car to project success, a wealthy individual might buy a reliable used vehicle and invest the difference in appreciating assets. The rich understand that every dollar spent on depreciating assets is a dollar that could be working to generate more wealth. They don't avoid luxury or pleasure, they simply ensure these purchases serve a greater purpose in their overall financial strategy. The wealthy also master the art of timing their expenditures. They understand market cycles, tax implications, and seasonal variations that affect pricing. They might bulk purchase during sales, not out of scarcity, but because it's mathematically advantageous. They negotiate large purchases, not because they can't afford the asking price, but because they respect the power of retained capital. Every dollar saved through strategic spending becomes ammunition for future investments. Technology plays a crucial role in strategic spending. The rich utilize sophisticated tracking tools, automated investment platforms, and financial planning software to optimize their spending patterns. They analyze their expenditure data to identify opportunities for improvement and leverage banking relationships to maximize returns on their cash holdings. While the poor might view a credit card as a way to buy things they can't afford, the wealthy see it as a tool for cash flow management, points accumulation, and building credit strength. Perhaps most importantly, the rich maintain emotional distance from their spending decisions. They don't make purchases to feel better after a bad day or to impress others at a social gathering. Their spending aligns with carefully constructed financial plans that often span decades. They understand that true wealth isn't about how much you spend, but how intelligently you deploy your resources to generate more resources. This strategic mindset creates a powerful compound effect over time. While the poor person's emotional spending leads to accumulating debt and diminishing options, the wealthy person's strategic approach continuously expands their financial possibilities. Each well-considered purchase becomes a building block in a larger wealth creation structure, whether through direct investment returns, time saved, relationships built, or opportunities accessed. The gap between rich and poor spending habits isn't just about the amount spent, it's about the thought process behind each transaction. The wealthy treat their personal finances with the same strategic rigor that successful businesses apply to their operations. They understand that in a world of finite resources, every spending decision is actually an investment decision, and they choose their investments wisely. Lesson 11. The poor hope. Hope is a beautiful human quality, But when it becomes a substitute for action, it transforms into a prison of wishful thinking. The stark reality is that millions of people base their financial futures on hoping things will somehow get better, hoping they'll win the lottery, hoping for an inheritance, hoping for a lucky break, or hoping their situation will magically improve without any concrete steps toward change. This passive approach to life improvement manifests in various ways. People hope their boss will notice their hard work and give them a raise, rather than documenting their achievements and actively negotiating their compensation. They hope their debt will disappear instead of creating a structured repayment plan. They hope investment opportunities will fall into their lap, rather than educating themselves about financial markets and actively seeking opportunities. The psychology behind hope-based living is deeply rooted in our desire to avoid discomfort and responsibility. It's easier to hope things will change than to face the uncomfortable truth that we must be the primary agents of change in our lives. This mindset often stems from childhood experiences where external forces largely controlled our circumstances, creating a pattern of passive acceptance that carries into adulthood. The financial consequences of living in hope are severe and compound over time. While hoping for a better future, opportunities slip away unnoticed. Investment potential remains untapped as people wait for the perfect moment to start. Career advancement stagnates while others actively pursue growth. Relationships that could lead to valuable connections never form because hope keeps people in their comfort zones, waiting for circumstances to align perfectly. Hope becomes particularly dangerous when it masquerades as action. People convince themselves they're working toward their goals by dreaming about them, creating vision boards, or talking about what they'll do someday. While visualization and positive thinking have their place, they must be coupled with concrete action steps and measurable progress markers to create real change. The hope mindset often comes with a side of magical thinking about money. People hope their financial problems will solve themselves, leading to delayed action on pressing issues like debt, savings, and investment. This delay can cost years of potential compound interest and wealth building, creating a perpetual cycle of financial struggle. Social media and consumer culture exacerbate this tendency by constantly showing glimpses of lifestyles that seem achievable through hope alone. People scroll through carefully curated images of success, believing that simply wanting something badly enough will somehow manifest it into reality. This magical thinking prevents them from seeing and accepting the hard work, strategic planning, and consistent effort behind others' achievements. The most insidious aspect of the hope mindset is how it becomes self-fulfilling. When people base their futures on hope rather than action, they develop a pattern of passivity that makes them less likely to seize opportunities when they do arise. They become spectators in their own lives, watching from the sidelines as others actively shape their destinies. Breaking free from the hope trap requires a fundamental shift in mindset and behavior. It means accepting that hope alone won't pay bills, build wealth, or create opportunities. It means developing the courage to face current reality squarely, no matter how uncomfortable, and taking consistent action towards specific goals. It means replacing "I hope things get better" with "What specific steps can I take today to improve my situation?" The gap between hoping and having is bridged by strategic action, not wishes. Those who understand this truth stop waiting for external forces to change their lives and start creating the changes they desire. They recognize that while hope can provide emotional comfort, only concrete actions and consistent effort can create lasting financial transformation. Lesson 12. The Rich Plan. The fundamental difference between hoping and planning lies not in the desire for a better future, but in the systematic approach to creating it. While hope floats aimlessly like a leaf in the wind, planning charts a deliberate course through life's uncertainties. The wealthy understand this distinction intimately, and it shapes every aspect of their decision-making process. Consider how the wealthy approach their mornings. They don't hope to have a productive day, they design it. Their calendars aren't filled with wishful thinking, but with intentional blocks of time dedicated to wealth-building activities. Every hour serves a purpose, every meeting advances a goal, and every investment aligns with a larger strategy. This level of intentionality extends beyond daily schedules to encompass decades of calculated moves. The wealthy approach life like grand masters in chess, always thinking several moves ahead. They don't simply plan for next month's expenses, they architect multi-generational wealth transfer strategies. Their children's education isn't left to chance. Educational trusts are established years before birth. Retirement isn't a distant dream, but a mathematical certainty based on carefully structured investment portfolios and business exits. This planning mindset manifests in their approach to opportunities as well. When others see a market crash as a disaster, the wealthy see it as an anticipated moment to deploy capital they've strategically set aside. They don't scramble to take advantage of opportunities, they prepared for them long in advance. Their success in timing the market often comes from having planned for multiple scenarios, ensuring they have dry powder ready when others are forced to sell. The wealthy also plan for failure not with fear, but with strategic foresight. They create redundancies in their income streams, maintain strategic relationships across industries, and build legal structures to protect their assets. Their businesses have succession plans, their investments have hedge positions, and their lives have insurance policies that transform potential catastrophes into manageable transitions. Perhaps most importantly, the wealthy plan with precision. Their goals aren't vague aspirations like being rich or owning a business. Instead, they set specific, measurable targets with clear timelines and accountability metrics. They know exactly what needs to happen each quarter to stay on track for their 5-year objectives. They understand which key performance indicators matter and track them religiously. The wealthy also recognize that plans must evolve. They regularly review and adjust their strategies, incorporating new information and opportunities while maintaining their core objectives. This isn't the rigid planning of a bureaucrat, but the fluid adaptation of a strategist. They remain flexible in their tactics while staying committed to their ultimate goals. Their planning extends to their networks and relationships. They don't just hope to meet the right people, they strategically position themselves in environments where valuable connections are inevitable. They plan their social engagements, their board positions, and their philanthropic activities to create synergistic opportunities that compound their influence and access to resources. The wealthy understand that time is the ultimate equalizer, and their planning reflects this reality. They don't just plan for wealth accumulation, they plan for wealth preservation and growth across generations. Their legacy isn't left to chance, but is carefully orchestrated through estate planning, family governance structures, and value transmission systems that ensure their descendants benefit from not just their wealth, but their wisdom. This sophisticated approach to planning becomes a competitive advantage that compounds over time. While others react to circumstances, the wealthy create them. While others hope for breaks, the wealthy engineer them. This isn't about eliminating uncertainty, it's about developing systems to transform uncertainty into careful preparation and strategic foresight.